Hello and good day to you. Today's video on the versatility of a digital image in various crafts. We are going to demonstrate how to use an image, the digital image, to create silhouette image on line fill, that's flood fill and line fill in a single color. And then we can use that image and import into graphic software for knitting. I'll be designing it for that so that we can use it to also create a filet crochet top. So to do that, I'm just going to go to File. So we'll go to File, Open. I'll go into my folder and open the image I want to use. So just go first to this one, pick it up. Okay. Here we have it. I don't want to, if I'm going to save, the good thing is going to I'm going to save it in Affinity format, that is going to be in layout format. So I won't have it, I won't be overriding my normal image. But if you are in software like Clip Studio Paint, you will need to change to make sure you don't save it, you don't save over this your JPEG image. But this is the image we have been using for this project, for the project we'll be doing in every craft. So that you can go to File, Save As, and then you go back, you save it in. I'm going to put it, create a new folder and call it line fill image. Okay, I'm just going to put it there, and I'll leave it like this and leave it with the line fill. So put it save. That means I've saved it. This is what you do in any file, any software you are using, so that you don't overwrite your image. All right, so let's turn it into black and white. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll first of all create it as a line image like so, and then I'll do it like, because this fill we have, the solid fill we have, is what we are going to use for the filet crochet. This is how we need it for filet crochet. Then we'll have it as line fill. You can use this same line fill as filet crochet, but I'm not going to do that. We just do it so that you can, if you want to use it for textile, use it for cake, to cut around it with a digital cutter for cake or stuff like any other craft, you can use it. So we're going to practice the two of them. We're going to demonstrate the two of them, and then we'll take this solid fill. Sorry, now this. Yes, we're going to take this fill and take it into Design and Knit software. So we're not only going to practice two, we're going to practice three. We'll have the silhouette image. So let me go back into Affinity. Taking a look at it, we are in Designer Personal side of Affinity, which is a vector side of Affinity. So going into the one that has boxes is a pixel personal side of it. So you click on it, then we can use our tools, which is the magic one, the flood select tool, or you can use the selection brush tool. So I'm just going to duplicate in case I make mistake. I don't like doing too much undo. So I'll remove the visuals of make the bottom layer invisible. So duplicate our image. You just right click on it, and you have into show you duplicate, and you click on duplicate when the menu pops or menu appears, or menu window appears. Sorry, the layer the layer menu window appears. Then you click on duplicate and it duplicates it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is to select the flood select tool, which is also known as the magic wand tool, depend on the software you are using. If we're going to click, I'm going to zoom in so that you see the image. If you want to rotate your image, maybe because let me rotate it for this purpose, then we'll rotate it back when we finish. Okay, so before you rotate your image, don't freeze. So I'm going to delete this one first before I duplicate. So we'll have it here still locked. There are two ways for us to rotate our image to make it so that I can make it horizontal and you'll be able to see the image as I work on it in screen on the screen. So first I'll go to, you can just go to, if you go to file, sorry, view, and rotate is going to rotate over, I think, 15 degrees, rotate the full canvas 15 degrees, but we're not going to do that. What I'm going to go to is on file, document setup, and here's portrait. I'm going to just click on that and it's going to be on landscape. So that is going to rotate it to landscape. I want it on the landscape view, horizontal view. If I click on rescale, it's going to rescale both of them, but there is a catch on that. So I just click on OK, and you have you see that it's to one side is has rotated. So if I come back here to this icon, this rotate icon on top, and just click on rotate, you see that the is being rotated, but it's not matching properly as you want it to be. So I'm just going to click on this padlock to release it so that I can drag it, the icon. Then I'll drag it, and if I have my snap, which is this magnet snapping tool activated, then you will see the lines, the guidelines for me to put it to match it up. All right, then I can flip, depend on how I rotate it. Okay, the second method, which I'm going to go back to, undo. Okay, the second method, which is the best and appropriate method, is still this, like you're following the same path. You go to file, you go into document setup, then you click on you uncheck the portrait. Instead of rescale, which is going to if you place the mouse over the rescale, you will see that it says rescale object when the page is resized. We are not going to use rescale, we're going to use anchor to page instead. You know, the first one we use rescale, and we had to do some adjustment to make sure we have to drag the image itself to and enable our magnetic snapping so that it can line up properly. But this time the anchor is going to do it for us. So click on anchor to page, which is going to place leave the object while it rescales, and let's go. Then you click on OK. So you see it's still showing where it is on the vertical, just like how we did on the when we use the rescale. But one thing is that when you click on this rotate counterclockwise, it's going to just place it exactly where it is. Okay, you see that it's just placing it exactly where it is. So depend on which of the counterclockwise you click on. Sorry, on the rotate, like this one, rotate clockwise, is going to place it exactly where it is. So we don't need to do anything. So for those of us struggling to line our work, this is a perfect one for us. So we can start designing, we can start editing the image to suit the purpose we need it for. Okay, so what we need to do now, you can see how I'm working on it. We'll turn it back to the vertical part when I'm going to take it into the graphic software for crocheting or hand knitting, for knitting. Select the magic wand to, or float select to, and I'm going to just zoom in so that you see. Select the float select to and select the float select to and decide what you want. Here the mode should be on add, the second one, and if you see just new, only new one it will be selecting. So if I select this and I take a new one, it's going to deselect this other one. We don't want that one, the second one, which is two together, so that when I select, it selects, and as we add, it continue adding. Okay, you will decide your tolerance. You play around with the tolerance until you have the desired tolerance you want. Then click on contagious, so that means that any color of that same thing takes it if it's in that vicinity or that area. The best way I found out to select, especially when you have a line art image like this, is to select the lines. Why? It's because if I selected this one, and you can see we have some speckles because I scanned them in, and we have some speckles of colors flooding in the. Okay, you can see the speckle of color. So if I say, let me create a new layer. I'm in pixel personal, so I just create one pixel layer there first. Take my brush and pick it. Let me take red color from my swatch and color it. I'm go for basic. I need a basic. Okay. Yeah, just okay. So when you color it, you can see that it's not coloring. You can see where the speckles are in this image. You can see it. That's not what we want. We want it, don't flood fill it is going to flood fill totally. So we don't want that. So I'm going to delete this layer totally, and we'll do it again. All right, so go to select. So I found that the best way, if you have a line art image, is to take your selection to, or I'm using tolerance 20, and we'll work on the lines. Oh, I'll do it again. Sorry, I forgot I'm not using I wanted to zoom in. So I'll go to select. So with the selection tool, I'm going to click into the line. So I'll just do it here. You can see my mouse, and I'll click into the line, and only the lines will be selected. We'll select all lines, and if they're linked, they will all be selected. So if you have a gap, like if you have a little gap on one, I had a little gap. This gap is a bit close, maybe because it has been flipped, or it's the second side. So I know I have a little gap at one end. Okay, I think it's here. So you see, I have a little gap here. But because I selected the lines, the image is not coming out of it. But I'll want to cover this image, this little line here. That's because, let me show you it again. Select, come back to them. If I select this inner part of the image, sorry, I have to zoom so that you can see my full work. So I will be selecting this middle part where the mouse is. So take my, and I'll just select this white part in it. You will see that the selection is coming out into the open rows region. And also you have selection at the border. If you take it, you can see some selection at the border matching ants, and you can see around the image. And I didn't select that one. All I selected was just this part of the leaf. That's because it has an opening here. So to do that, deselect. I'm going to take my brush, reduce the size of my brush very small. Let me see how small my brush is. And I'll go to take the color. I can decide to, since it's up, I can decide to walk over it. So I'm just going to use my brush, select the color, close this one, use 9, and still a bit big. And we're going to close this line here. So I'm just going to close it just to join it. Then if I want to erase, can come here. Oh, that's a big eraser. Alright, so I'm going to come in and close this one. Clean it. This one. Just to make the the same design. You take the same brush just to paint the part I erased with white. So I'm just going to paint it. Okay. All right. So that the transparent background is not showing. All right. So that's how we close lines of image. Here we have it opened, but it don't really matter here. So anyone you want to close, if you want the line joined because it's giving it's making your designs be not to be creeps at the edges, then you can just do what I did. Take the color of the brush and you close it. All right, so let's progress. Taking the selection tool, we're first of all going to create a new, you can make it'll make a pixel layer. We'll create a new layer, then we'll say activate the flood select tool, then go back to the image layer. Let me duplicate it. Right click on the layer palette and duplicate on the image, background image, and duplicate it. So I will now hide the original one. In case I make a mistake, I can now go back to, without having to do a lot of undo, I can go back. All right, so we'll click on it and select only the lines. So I'll just click on the lines and I'll click on the lines here. As I said, the selection tool, I forgot to do the add. So you need to go back to do the add. The mode should be add so that you see that it selected the the leaf area. So I'm just going to go back and click on the add to make sure I'll click back into the leaf line out so that it selects it along with it, because we're going to paint it in one color. So just keep quickly. Then the stamens, I'm going to select them. Then we'll go into the new layer. I'm going to make it black and white. So you see, we'll be using the stroke layer brush. So I'll just go to the stroke and use the stroke for the brush. So with the brush, new layer selected, we'll go to the new layer, sorry. That's where you activate, and I'll make the size of my brush very large so that I can do this once without, and you just paint over it and make sure you are working on the new layer. If not, you're going to paint over the original artwork. So we have it here. You can notice that all lines are selected, which is good. Okay, so this is how we get the line art, and I'm not going to do any, this is how we get the line art. So that's it for that. So I'll go to a new layer, a new pixel layer, since you are working in pixel, and I'm going to remove the, I'm going to uncheck the visibility so that you see only the background of that. Then what I'm going to do, still selected, I'm going to go to select, that's this line art area, this black line art area. Before we do the invisibility, we go to select and we go to, you can still do it when you have unchecked the visibility, but I will just do it with it being checked and you are seeing the visibility of it. So we'll go to select and we go to invert pixel selection. If you take a look at it, you will notice that it is selecting now the outer part. You can see, if I, let me make my brush size very large so that, okay. So as I put it, you will see that it's, you can see the selection. Now you can see all the selection, and you can see that it's having selection even at the borders. We don't want it to have selection at the border. So I'm going to go to select, deselect. I'm going to first of all remove. I mistakenly clicked my paintbrush too. So you can see the selection, and you're going to go to select, deselect. What we're going to do now is to go back into the select the select a flood selection tool, and we'll go into, since we have put it in black and white, I'm going to do the visibility of this red, this colored layer out. I'm going to do it so that we come back only onto the black layer without the color layer. I know it's not going to interfere, but there's something I want to show you, which I don't want that one to be seen through. All right, so with the flood select tool, I'm going to zoom in to this one. Then still on make sure the layer is this line art, this black line art layer that has been selected. Then into one of the petal, we're just going to click into it. And if you take a look, you will see the it's selecting the petal, and because here it's not close, it's selected the next petal close to it, but it's only inside the petal. Clicking on the more to be add, we are going to add more colors to it. We're going to do more selection. With the mode being add, I'm just going to select inside, just clicking on inside. You know, what we did previously was the line art, so now I'm just going to click on the inside. And because I want it as just one color, let me do the stamens first. Because I want it as just one color, I'll just continue clicking into the inside of each one. So I'll go into the stamen. I hope I'm not missing anyone. We'll know when we fill it in. Okay. So we just select the leaves too. Because we have closed that part of the leaf, it's not going to come up because, oh, sorry, I clicked on the line of one. Because we have closed that part of the leaf, that, remember this part where we had a gap. So when I select it, it's not going to, there's not going to be any selection out of it. So you have to make sure you note your wrong brush, wrong tool. So you make sure you note your image, the image that you are using, and know that, okay, this is what I want, this is the error. We were able to detect that quickly when we did selection and know that we had a gap in the image we have. So we need to close that gap. So now I've selected the inner part of this image. I've selected the inner part. I'm going to go to this new pixel layer we made, and I'm going to take my brush, selecting nice colors. So I'm going to take from my swatch. You can see it's going to be, now I'm just putting my brush over it. You can see that it's only the black lines that's been selected. Sorry, the inner part that is being filled. So if I take out the pixel layer, this lineart pixel layer, since I've selected it and I'm working on a new layer, you see. So this pixel layer, I'm going to, so now don't make mistake, I'm going to call it line art. And this new pixel layer, I'm going to call it fill art. So in the layer palette, I'm just renaming. Okay. Oh, I should call it line fill, and let me call it line art fill art so that I don't come. So now we have the line art layer. We have only the lines, and this fill art layer, we're going to see it as only the fill. So I'm going to take, you can use any color you want. This is a solid fill, but let's just use black because of we'll be using for um I'm using for filet crochet, and I just want to do it as a monochrome image. Okay, so I'll just use another color again. Let me pick a very nice color. Let's pick a light brown color. Okay, so if you want to use it for cake or something, you want to print and cut out for cake, then you see that you can use any other color. So I just created another one, and I'll call it color fill color fill art. Okay, so that's that. I'll go to selection, deselect. So here we have it, and this line art, if you want, we can now combine both the line art and the fill art to have a very name. So I'll just duplicate the line art. That's the fastest way to do it. The other ways to do it, you have to just select the out part. So if I activate the line art, the line art pixel layer, and I activate that is visibility of the line art pixel, that's this black line, and the color fill art, this brown fill, you will see that we have a nice image over it. So you can do it and layer it. That's how you can create your own layering image if you want to use a different color entirely. And if you want to, let me duplicate and bring them forward. Let me bring them to the top and do this duplicate and bring this to the top. I'm going to call this 2 first because the duplicate. So I'm going to merge these two together, but before I merge it, I want to change the color of the line art. So taking my magic wand, I'm going to select into this and change the color to, no, let me change it to gray. Let me just make it solid gray or solid or blue. Okay. So I'm going to change the line art to blue. Then I'll come to this other layer, select, deselect, and with the magic wand tool, I'm just going to select the background and tell it selection invert pixel selection, so that it selects only the image that we have color fill on. So I'm going to now float fill it. Then go to selection, this selection. We have the two, you can see them with a tiny thing. So if you don't want these tiny lines, when you are doing your line art, you can work on it. But this time we are just doing a silhouette image. So I'll merge this line art layer. I'll merge this line art with this color fill, and I'll call it silhouette. So to merge it, I'm going to select this first layer and hold the shift key and select the second layer. That's the line art layer and the color fill layer together. And I'm going to right click on the layer palette again and click on group. Although it will make it, because I want it one not like a vector that is going to separate the two layers on group, I'm going to now right click again and go to rasterize and click on rasterize. Then it becomes just one layer. So now you see that it has been meshed, and you can see. So when I take my magic wand, sorry, I'm calling it magic wand because of different software that I use. I'm used to one name. Float fill, select two, and we click on the background. You see that we have our image. We see that the background is only selected. So if I take my brush and I pick a new color, let me pick a color, and you see, let's zoom out a bit. Okay. So if I take my brush and I go, you can see that it's only this you can see that the image is we have our silhouette image in the middle. So go to selection, invert pixel selection, and we have just the silhouette image. So you can change it as you desire. This one you can cut it, and also if you have digital cutters, you can cut it from paper text size and do some layering on it. I've done that before, using it to make a nice embellishment for a dress. Okay, so I'll go to select and select and deselect. So that's how we create our silhouette image. So we've created a silhouette, and I'm going to rename this one the silhouette because it's our silhouette. Okay. Right, so we've done the silhouette, we've done the fill, the color fill, of which we are going to use this to do a filet crochet, and we can progress to cake making also. Then we have this as a lineart. So if you want to color, if you want to do different colors, you can just take the same lineart. Let's duplicate it, and I'm going to put it as coloring. And we're just going to select only we're going to select the lines for this because we're in the, and make sure it's the line area. Okay, we do it as coloring. We've duplicated it so we can work over it. We can work on it. So if you want to, you can come back, and just like how we have this, I'm going to bring this one to the top so that I see it. So just like how we have this as different colors, you can do the same. You can decide where you want to color, which one you don't want to color, and you can do the feel of it. So it all depends on what you want. So I'm just going to go to that. And you can decide to select them on their little by little and paint them. So with this, I'm going to select this green leaf, and I'm going to, I'm painting on the wrong layer. Let me see. You see, I've just worked over this one. That's why it's good to be on the right layer that you are working on. So I'm just going to go back to onto paint brush. Okay, and I'm going to remove you. I'm going to go back to my layer. So make sure you are working on the layer you really want to. So I'm going to bring my coloring layer to the top and work on it. So reduce the size of my brush, and I've gone to click. Why am I always clicking this mouse to paint? So we can now paint. So you can now do your colors. You can now decide which color you want. So I'll just paint this. You can do different shades. You can say one should be darker and one should be lighter. If the brushes are too large, you can reduce the size and go for a smaller size. You can reduce the size of the brush as is being required. So for this, if you want to make it in layers, you just duplicate it, create the other layer, and say this is outer petal, this is inner petal, and then you can paint over it. So I'm just going to paint. And for this one, I'm just going to select the blue, and I'll come to this middle and paint this blue in here. So that it looks almost like this. But you know, I made some mistake here because I want to show you that I'm not painting. I'm not just doing this other one that we have here. You can see it's almost the same, but I just want to tell you that I'm color. So I'm purposely making mistakes in it. So you can do any design you want on top, do any coloring effect you want on top, and you have your nice color. So you can now see it with this color. You can see that it's pretty. It's not that just black. We can have it. So you're painting it and having different effects. You can do whatever you want. And remember, you are the designer. Okay, so we have to save our work. So I'm just going to. So we'll have to save our work. I'm just going to click on File and Save. Then we save it as that. Then I'm going to come back in here, and this particular one I'm going to save it. So we can click on File, Export as a JPEG. If you want to export it as a JPEG, you can click on only the selection if it's only selection you want to. So to export as a JPEG and click on its selection, make sure you select only that image. Then it export as image for you. You can also export as PNG. So click on PNG and you can say select only or selection area. So selection only is what I do. It depends on what I need it for. Sometimes I can click the whole image to be selected. So you can do that. So I will just leave it without having to export now, because for what I want to use it for, we'll still be working from this project into it. So we don't need to export until I've resized, turn, do the flipping and the necessary. So this is just how to create it. So until next time, thank you for joining me for this video of creating a silhouette image, color fill art and line art in a single color using a digital image. Until next time, happy designing and bye for now. Thank you.